we have a Mandalorian finale right there, right in front of us, which was really good.
Yeah, and I loved it. I thought it was great.
I think you liked it better than me, but I did like it. It was actually a lot of interesting choices that the whole season made. Like, it didn't do what we expected it to do. Like, the armor wasn't the villain, and we didn't get a cliffhanger. And like,
I'm glad we didn't get a cliffhanger.
Yeah, but like, a couple of things that I thought was like, we didn't get a payoff either. Like, we don't know much more.
I thought that we did.
Well, I mean, stay with me for a second.
Go ahead. Yeah,
we didn't know much about the Empire, the Shadow Council, whatever, and the Empire's machinations and the remnants. So I guess that might be next season. We don't know. There was still
that might be like in one of the other shows they're going to be doing, like Ahsoka or something like that.
Yeah, so that could happen. And it really kind of felt at the very end that this could just be like, if they really thought about it, if they really wanted it to, they could just be like, okay, we're done with the Mandalorian. Like, this is done. We're not going to do anything else.
They could.
They wrapped it up. They wrapped it up so well. I mean, it's wrapped up in a nice,
tiny
bow. They
could. However, at the same time, it also really, really leads into exactly what I want from the Mandalorian, which is I want the Mandalorian to be a bounty hunter, and every week there's some new mission he's got to do. And we watch him do that, and it's super cool. And they resolve it. And then next week there's some other bounty he's got to go on. Mission of the week. Give it to me.
I don't know if they want to do that. If they do,
that's totally how they set it up, though. That's like it. This episode, excuse me. This episode ends the same way that Spider-Man: No Way Home ends for me. Like this season isn't exactly what I wanted from The Mandalorian, the same way the Tom Holland movies weren't exactly what I wanted from Spider-Man movies. But the way that it ends seems like it's setting it up for exactly what I want from The Mandalorian again, just like we had in season 1.
Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong. They did set up everything nicely, but for a Disney Plus show based around Star Wars, where they're trying to possibly expand with Ahsoka and other, I guess, other things they're doing, we didn't really get a hint about what they wanted to do, which is kind of disappointing in my view.
I mean, let those other things do that. You know, the Mandalorian can just be, hey, the whole reason for this show is just because the style of Boba Fett was cool, right?
Yeah, in theory.
So just let like the next season of The Mandalorian just be, hey man, there's this really cool looking character and he does cool looking stuff.
And, like the whole story with the Mandalorians is kind of wrapped up. The Mandalorians have their homeworld back. They have a leader. Right. The clans are united. So, the Mandalorian story. I mean, if you've always, from I forget when Empire Strikes Back came out, but I guess 1982 it was 1980. What's this, 1980? From 1980 until present, if you've always wondered about Boba Fett and why he has a helmet, who is he? Like, that story's done. You know everything you need to know about the Mandalorians. You know everything you need to know about Boba Fett. You know everything about the whole thing. There's no secrets anymore about the Mandalorians or anything like that. So, I mean, that's kind of...
You know way more than you probably wanted to know about Boba Fett at this point.
Yeah, so it's like... Yeah, so it's kind of cool how they wrapped everything up. They've done it. They did. Now we get to either move on to new things or just maybe not. I don't know. Let's do a show recap.
Okay.
All right, so first up, the episode starts with them running away, and one of the Mandalorians. This is actually a plot problem. We saw earlier in one of the episodes where their flight jetpacks couldn't go that long,
right?
And this one goes into space.
I was thinking about that. Right? Okay. Let's ignore the fact that it takes a lot of thrust to get something off of a planet. The distance that you're going to get from the surface of a planet into outer space is not that long.
Yeah.
So in theory, that dragon could have flown further away than it takes to get into space. It could have been many miles to follow the dragon, whereas getting into space is not that far.
That's fine. I've got that. You got that. 100%. I'm fine with that. Except the gravitational pressures to get to space. That's the
exactly. Yeah, there's a lot to overcome to get into space. Yeah,
and plus, like those suits are pressurized for space flight, apparently, which is interesting. Like what? Like,
hey, well, that you saw all of those electronics they put into their Beskar armor, so it could be pressurized. That's how it's pressurized for space. Yeah. I told you, those electronics do whatever the plot needs them to do.
And like, I just kind of feel like there's not a lot of good acting going on. Like the dude that was in charge of the Star Destroyer was acting kind of weird, but I think he was just acting weird because he didn't know what to do.
For a second, I was like, is he the spy from the last episode? But yeah, I think he's just like, kind of looking at Axe because like, dude, are you sure you're gonna stay here and let them attack this ship with you piloting it? Yeah, that's what I think it was. But it was a little weird the way they lingered on him.
And then, like, the Mandalorians leave the Star Destroyer, get into their little ships, and fly down to the surface. And then the Empire ships attack the Star Destroyer, so that's kind of cool. We get a really cool shot of them. We got a lot of cool.
There's that was that really cool shot of Axe Woves flying into space, where it's like locked onto his helmet almost, and so you see him flying like that.
Yeah, it was really cool.
That's such a cool shot. A lot of people have been using in different things lately.
Yeah, it was
but good. I think it was probably done. The best version of that shot that I've seen so far was in this episode.
Yeah, and then his name is
Din Djarin.
Din Djarin escapes his captors, so the helmet stays on, which I was happy with.
And Grogu helps him out.
And Grogu steps up, and he's like, "Okay, I'm going to help you." And then they're on their way to, and they both agreed to go kill Moff Gideon. They're like, "We have to kill this guy." Okie dokie, because I mean it's true. If you let him go, he's just going to keep doing stuff.
He's just going to keep popping back up. Yep.
I mean, I think murder is like the absence of a good imagination. But I guess at this point, what are you going to do? This guy keeps popping.
I mean, it's either that or you jail him.
They tried to. He escaped. He escaped.
To do that.
And so one of the most fun things I thought was fun, and this is something I thought about a lot when I was watching this. They dug into the prequels quite a bit. Like the R4 droid was
R5.
R5, was sent by Din Djarin to go into the base and help him out. And so the droid pops some jetpacks out of his sides and then flies down there. We saw that before. Do you remember seeing that before?
I think R2-D2 did that once.
Yeah, in Attack of the Clones. Mm-hmm. And so if you look at there's a lot. If you watch this whole series, there's a lot of prequel stuff they took for this, which I find really interesting. It's kind of fun, and the droid's kind of a scaredy cat, which I thought was fun. And we had some fun comic bits. We get a great action scene where Din Djarin fights like a bunch of dudes, going back to the prequels again, where like. These force fields were being shut down, and he fought these guys individually as R5
that was pretty cool. That was a pretty cool scene. When I first saw those force fields in the earlier episode, I'm like, are they just doing this for looks? Because this seems very complicated, like way of protecting something.
But we've seen that before. You've seen it before.
Where?
The first prequel movie.
The first.
What was it called?
The first prequel or the first sequel?
First prequel. What's it called? What's that?
Phantom Menace?
Yes. When Obi-Wan Kenobi and his mentor, which I'm Liam Neeson, are fighting Darth Maul, and and they're fighting in a section where these force fields keep popping up, and so they kind of interfere with each other. You don't remember that part?
Set up like that, where it's like dominoes almost.
Yeah.
Or a bunch of gates in a row.
It's actually a really cool scene because there's a cool scene when Darth Maul kills Liam Neeson, and then it's just Obi-Wan, but they're blocked by a force field, so they have to wait till the force field pops off.
Okay.
So
I'm glad we got the payoff in this episode because cool. That fight scene was one of the better fight scenes in the entire season.
I mean, Din Djarin at this point just feels like, I don't want to say the Jackie Chan of Star Wars, but he's just like, he's going to fight you and he's going to win.
Right.
Like if you have to fight Din Djarin, he's going to beat you up. And like like with the Jedi, it's like I'm a Jedi, but it's like it almost feels like their force powers make them, unless they're fighting each other or a Sith dude, then it feels like they're just overpowered. But Din Djarin just feels like the scrappy dude who keeps like getting out of, who will just beat you up, you know? Like, he's going to kill all 8 of these guys to get to Moff Gideon.
Right.
You know,
but it was cool the way it was like 2 at a time.
Yeah.
But like the first 2, they were surprised, you know, and he made pretty quick work of them. But then it was just awesome the way, like, you see the next 2, they're like waiting. They're like, okay, let's get ready. He's coming for us next. And, you know, which weapons can he pick up? Like, he goes to grab a weapon, but he can't get it before it falls into the abyss, whatever's below this platform that they're on. Sometimes he's able to pick up a baton. Other times he can pick up a blaster. It was really cool.
Yeah, he's just like, it's hard for me to think of another character who's just as scrappy as him. Like I'm trying to think. Maybe
Daredevil.
Yeah, you know what? You nailed it. Like
he's the Daredevil of the Star Wars universe.
Like when Daredevil fights someone, he's going to beat you. You know, even though he might get beat up.
He'll get hurt.
Yeah, you know what? You nailed that. Yeah, my brain knew what I was trying to figure out, but you nailed it. Like, yeah, he's the same kind of like, I'm just going to walk into this room and beat you all up. You know, it's
tenacity.
Like, yeah, but like, you know, in real life, guys, please don't try to do that. Especially if you're over 40, you're not going. You're not. It's not going to turn out well. Like I could probably beat up one of those guys, maybe, but not. Like I was by the 4th set, I'm like, I can't do. I'm tired. You know, it's really funny.
Right.
But then also we get a cool scene where this is the best scene of the whole episode when the Mandalorians jump out of their jump pods and they're flying towards the base. And the armorer says, you know, what's her face? What's her name again?
Bo-Katan.
Yeah, Bo-Katan, your backup has arrived. And they're flying down. And then like the Imperial troop guys, they're flying up and they meet in midair. That's just like, you can't make a better. This is a perfect scene.
Bo-Katan's like using the darksaber. She's slicing guys.
Yeah, the
armorer's got her hammer and tongs out. She just bashes them.
The whole thing was really like they could have done a whole movie like this and then just fine.
Yeah, that was great. Good. But yet again, there's plenty of fuel in these jetpacks.
Oh yeah, and like just to go back to what we talked about previously, this is where all the money's going. Like the CGI was beautiful. Everything about this episode was beautifully done.
Episode is indistinguishable from a movie.
Yeah, no, this is where all the money's going, guys. So yeah, if you love Star Wars,
this was not a TV budget show.
If you love Star Wars, there's absolutely no reason not to watch these Star Wars episodes, these Star Wars things. They're making some really good stuff here. Really impressive. But also when you're thinking back to like She-Hulk, you know, it's like, well, shoot, you know, it's funny. But then we get a big fight between Din Djarin and... okay.
What's the big fight you're talking about?
Din Djarin,
I think we were going to the same place.
They're fighting.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah.
Moff Gideon's just kind of like overpowered with a super suit. But then,
so he's not only... So he has a Beskar suit.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't... So his clones got destroyed, so he doesn't have the Force. That's the only thing he's missing.
About that. Let's talk about that real quick.
Okay, go ahead.
Din Djarin does destroy the Moff Gideon clones that I guess he was making in order to control the Force, and now they're all dead. So that's interesting.
Right. Yeah, that's cool. So he wanted. I guess he was just going to kill himself off or something, or one of those clones was going to take over and be the new Moff Gideon, because he really wanted to have the Force. So he wanted the Force. He wanted Beskar armor. He wanted the droids. So his new suit that he's fighting Din Djarin in is mechanized, because you hear like these actuators going off when he's moving around. So he's got more power than poor Din Djarin in this fight. What else? I think that's it. That's like all the things he kind of mashed together, right?
Yeah, pretty much. So yeah, it's a pretty big fight. Bo-Katan. Oh, we forgot about the Praetorians.
Yeah, the Praetorians almost got Mando in this fight, but Grogu comes in to save the day again.
Yeah, and it's crazy how brave this kid is. He's like, I'm going to
right.
fight.
Well, he is, over 50.
Yeah, but he's still a child. and
right.
What's the name of the
how slow? How long does it take them to develop speech capabilities? He's been walking around on these planets for 50 years now, and he hasn't learned to talk yet.
Yoda, I think Yoda was 2,000 years old when he died in Empire, Return of the Jedi.
Right.
No. He was training. He's been training Jedi for 2,000 years. He's probably older than that, so it's going to take a long time.
Just the speech thing seems really odd to me. I would think you would figure that out at least by age 5.
Well, he does actually. I was going to say this, but Grogu does talk at the end of the episode, and we'll get to that.
Okay.
But so Grogu and the Praetorians go into a room, and of course, Din Djarin's trying to get there, but he's getting stopped, and the door shuts, so Grogu is 1-on-1. He's 1-3 in this room, and he survives for a minute because he's jumping around, he's using the Force. But then he gets, of course, he's almost ready to get killed, but fortunately, Bo-Katan comes in. She helps him she takes over with Moff Gideon.
Right.
Din Djarin gets into the room, and it's Din Djarin and Grogu versus these three guys. I thought it was really well done. Grogu's using the Force. He's taking the spears away. He's pushing them around. And then,
did the original movies have Force sounds in them?
Yeah.
They did?
Yeah.
It's when people use the Force, you could hear it.
Yeah, it's like a boom sound.
I really liked it in this episode, but I didn't remember hearing them in the original episodes.
Yeah, they made a noise.
Or movies, yeah.
So that was real cool. I mean, it was just kind of cool to see all the work they did with Grogu from the last season, and then with the Boba Fett episodes to now pay off. Grogu's really, I don't want to say he's a warrior, but he's come a long way from just being a kid who can't protect himself to actually helping fight. Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah, I mean, he was slinging those Praetorian guards around.
Yeah, it was really fun. And then, of course, the Bo-Katan fight didn't work as well to me. I mean, she just couldn't take him, and eventually he breaks the dark chamber.
Dude, he's got that mecha suit. He's overpowered.
Yeah.
It's tough, yeah. I mean,
But I mean, at the same time, when I was
he broke the Darksaber.
Yeah, but when I was watching this, I was really wanting her to finally be able to beat this guy and be like, finally I got to do it. But I guess the show didn't want to be predictable, which I respect.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, he had too much going for him at that point. Beskar, you can't cut Beskar with a lightsaber, so
I would think
there goes that.
I would think that the Darksaber would go through Beskar, right? I guess not.
Isn't that the one thing that lightsabers can't touch is Beskar? Isn't that what we've learned before?
I guess. Who knows?
I think so. I don't know.
But we've seen lightsabers attack or hit other things and not be able to cut through them. So I think Beskar's is really tough.
Yeah, I mean, it can go through metal. She cut through the blast door the last episode. But I think Beskar is just, it's like adamantium.
Yeah. But then, we get the three of them, Bo-Katan, Din Djarin, and Grogu versus Moff Gideon, and they were able to...
Don't forget Axe. Axe is basically in this fight.
Oh, yeah. What did he do?
He's, so what is that ship? It's not a Star Destroyer. It's something smaller. It's like an Interceptor or something like that.
I don't know, but he's taking...
He's dive bombing the Interceptor into the base.
Yep.
And as Din, Bo, and Grogu are fighting... Moff Gideon, he crashes this ship into the base right behind where they're at, and it engulfs Moff Gideon in flames for a long time. And fortunately, Grogu is able to put a shield around the three of them to protect them.
Mm-hmm. That's real. Yeah, he's super powerful. Even for a guy, for a person, he's not a Jedi, but even for someone who's working with the Force, stopping that blast, that's pretty hard to do. So he's getting more powerful as time goes on. He's going to get more powerful, but that's the most powerful thing he's done. I mean, protected. I don't know if we've seen even a Jedi protect a bunch of people like that in a field, like like they're able to be that connected to the Force. That's on Yoda level, so it's really interesting that they did that.
Right.
But yeah, the Darksaber was destroyed, and
Moff Gideon's got to be dead, right?
No,
please let him be dead.
He's not dead.
Please let him be dead.
Did you see a body at the end?
That's what I said. Is they should have checked for the body and shown
no, he's not
this
dead.
Rice, this Chris body.
No,
all right, well, he's done.
He's definitely not dead. He's not. Nah.
I'm tired. I mean, I'm tired of him coming back. I don't want him to come back anymore. He's dead. He needs to be dead.
Oh yeah, I'm sick of him too. But he's not. He's gonna come back. So it's fine. I mean, it's fine. It is what it is. But it's just and the show wraps itself up kind of like a neat bow.
I mean, you can't survive a spaceship crashing into you.
A fictional character can survive a fictional spaceship crashing into them. That is 100% true. Something that's not real can survive if something that's not real hits them.
Yeah. Okay.
We'll see how that goes. But at the end of the episode, Grogu, Din Djarin adopts Grogu. Grogu gets the name Din Grogu.
Yeah, so we get a bookend ceremony. So the series started out with a ceremony with young Ragnar getting whatever Mandalorianized, and then we end with a ceremony where Ragnar is he's finishing getting Mandalorianized, and then right after he does it, Din's like, "All right, Grogu's up next. Let's do this."
Yep.
Yeah.
Which is like a nice little ending for them, right?
So he has to adopt him in order to be able to do that, because only Grogu's parents can say that he's speak for him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, which is cool. And so I wonder when he'll get a helmet. You think he'll ever get a helmet?
I don't want him to ever get a helmet.
Yeah, I mean, what happens when you get a helmet? Would look really weird on him, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
It would make you say.
I mean, he doesn't need a helmet, dude. He's got the Force. He can.
Well, they have established now. They have established now that Mandalorians can either wear a helmet or not, because we do have Mandalorians hanging out that aren't in that. I don't want to say extremist set, but in that sect, right? And so they kind of answer their own question. Goku doesn't have to wear a helmet if he doesn't want to, but he definitely is a Mandalorian now, which I think is quite cool.
Right? Yeah, he's a Mandalorian apprentice.
Yeah, and so after that, Din Djarin and Din Grogu go to, I guess, a Star Trek, Starfleet. Oh my gosh, wrong series. Goes to a New Republic outpost. And he says, "Hey, I want to be a bounty hunter for the New Republic under the table," and of course that cool dude that we've been seeing for a while accepts. And so now, if the setup's kind of complete, he's going to go on these adventures to bounty hunt Imperial remnants.
Perfect. Give me 5-6 seasons of that. Sign me up. I'm ready for it.
If you listen real closely, when
give me as many seasons as Pedro Pascal can stand.
If you listen real closely at the end, in that bar scene, Grogu points to the helmet of that killer robot, and he actually kind of speaks. It's like a clicking sound. It's not like he usually does. And then Din Djarin responds back to them. So I think he is slowly talking, which is interesting. But he does take this helmet for the killer robot, and he goes back to Navarro.
Hey, in the base, before you leave there, Dave Filoni is a background character in that scene.
Oh, cool. Who's David Filoni?
He's basically the new George Lucas. He's the nerdiest guy at Lucasfilms as far as story goes. He's responsible for a lot of the animation. Mm-hmm. And he works with Jon Favreau on these shows, with story and stuff like that. What's that tasty beverage that you're drinking?
Water. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
I'm just really thirsty. So then they take the helmet. They had the base. The New Republic had a helmet for the killer robot, and they go to Navarro, and apparently they repair the killer robot. So now the killer robot is the kind of the sheriff of the town.
He's the marshal. He's the marshal for Navarro, yeah.
Okay. And
he's replacing what's her face?
Yeah.
Whoever that was that got fired from the show.
I forget her name, but yeah.
Yeah, so now the droid is the new
robot.
marshal.
I wonder how that's work. Would you feel comfortable with a robot marshal?
I mean, I don't know. It seems like they're pretty comfortable with robots doing stuff in the Star Wars universe, so I guess. I mean, what about you?
I don't feel comfortable with robots at all. I'm pretty anti-robot at this point in my life. I don't want to say I'm a bigot towards robots, but I kind of feel like I am. I don't want to deal with you guys. But maybe I should be. Maybe I'll open myself up more if we see robots walking around. But then, like, Carl Weathers gives Din Djarin and Din Groku like a little plot of land in a house. He's like, "You guys are welcome here anytime." And the very end of the episode, we see Din Djarin.
Yeah, he's like, "You can come back in between your missions."
Yeah, like his little outpost for a video game. You know, like
right. This is your base. It's the hub world.
Yeah. But then, like, Din Djarin's like sitting on the porch with his helmet on, and Groku is using the Force.
Puts his feet up on the bar in front of him.
And Groku's using the Force to fish for frogs, and for the end, which is just, I don't know how I feel. Like, how you feel good about this ending? I don't know how I
loved it, man, and I really liked how they the last wipe that they did was that circle wipe. Mm-hmm. Down onto the Din and Grogu. Well, actually, so it's Djarin and Grogu, I guess, because it's Din Djarin and Din Grogu. Mm-hmm. So it's just on those two plus the frog and the circle, and then it goes to black.
I guess
I liked it. I mean, it's it kind of goes back to what's his name that did the snap?
Thanos,
yeah. At the end of the Thanos movie, he like goes back to his cabin, just relaxes.
Yeah, but
job done.
That was a cliffhanger, though. That movie, the Infinity War, was a cliffhanger. This is no cliffhanger. It's just like a.
Well, no, it's just like, hey, man, we did our job. I accomplished my mission. I'm just going to relax for a little bit. I liked it a lot.
I was hoping for more of a cliffhanger. I was hoping for more building up of this world. I did not want a cliffhanger at all. I wanted resolution in the series, and I think we got it. Yeah, but now there's like they don't have to make a new season. They can just be done. Like,
right?
Okay, we're done. And
or they can make my perfect season that I want.
It feels like they're done. It really feels like they're done. It feels like they're done.
But yet they also set up like my perfect season.
Yeah, but I mean, it feels like they're done. Like it's kind of
like not everything needs a story arc.
No, but I think if you're talking about storytelling, that especially when you're talking about like a series or
how many cop shows have there been?
Cop shows?
Yeah,
there's been lots of cop
Hill
shows.
Street Blues, CSI Miami, CSI Las Vegas.
Yeah, but those shows aren't as good as this show.
But I'm saying that format works. Like, you don't need a story arc for this season.
Yeah, you
can just have missions of the week.
All right, that's true. I was hoping for more of a big oomph, and I was really disappointed that the armorer, because like she's been again, like I don't understand. Like,
let's talk about it. Who were the spies in the last show?
I don't know if we'll ever know.
I mean, it was the one obvious one, Elia Kane.
Mm-hmm.
And then I don't know.
It could just be that one, and then we're done.
But why spies?
Well, I mean, he's probably got spies all over the place in a generic.
They do reveal that, of course, Moff Gideon does have some other spy that's feeding him information about the Mandalorians, but I knew that it wasn't the armorer based on his conversations he had with Elia Kane, because his information about the Mandalorians was not good. Mm-hmm. So whoever his spy was couldn't have been the armorer, because she knew a lot more than he did about the current state of the Mandalorians. Mm. So his whoever his other spy is has to be somebody that's like not aware of everything that's going on. So it couldn't have been the Mandalorian. It couldn't have been Bo-Katan. It couldn't have been Din Djarin or anything like that.
Yeah, it could be too. It's like when we were looking at the episodes and we were watching the episodes, we were looking for a villain, and I kind of feel like, just editing wise, they probably could have edited the episode in many different ways to kind of make us feel different things, or maybe they had different story ideas they didn't want to convey. And so, I mean, they could have had it so the armorer was a bad dude at one point or a villain at one point, but they changed their mind. So, I mean, I'm not mad about it that much.
Yeah,
but it was interesting because we kept seeing things that made us think that she was a villain or had something going on,
or that Ragnar was,
yeah,
and not Ragnar, Axe. I mean,
yeah, and then it just never came to terms. So I mean, again, I'm okay with that, but it was just a weird decision. And overall, the ending was a lot of energy, it was very fast paced, a lot of action. But I will
really well directed, I thought.
Yeah.
Yeah, like they put all their creativity for like good shots and good fight sequences went into this episode.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, that's it for that.
Mandalorian is done.
And in a lot of ways too, when we first started this, I thought that I didn't want to do it. I didn't know if I felt like it. But now that we did it, I mean, I am glad. I think, and even though we have had some complaints that we don't know the Star Wars lore as much as we could, I think we did okay. I think we did okay.
I think we did okay. Yeah,
I would give our work a solid C.
I'll probably watch some of those episodes. I just can't invest time to watch 50 episodes of the cartoons to get background on 8 episodes of The Mandalorian.
That was one of the reasons why I was very hesitant, because like I've read comics for like 20 years before, so I know the comic lore pretty well. And that's where the Marvel stuff, I was able to easily do that. I was on shaky ground, so we had to do something that I felt uncomfortable doing. But at the end of the day, I'm glad we did it.
But I mean, we're both OG Star Wars, people. Like, I had Ewok toys when I was growing up.
I couldn't afford those. That was the cool kids had the Star Wars toys.
Oh yeah,
yeah. The cool kids have had Star Wars toys.
I never had any of the like ships or anything. I just had action figures.
Man, those toys were a game changer. They were
now GI Joe. I had some of the GI Joe vehicles. That was cool.
I might buy a Din Djarin like figure or something like that. I'm sure. I'm sure there's a really cool one I can buy that looks really neat.
Probably, yeah.
All right, so that is The Mandalorian. So of the third? This is the third season.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I don't know where I would rate it, but I think The Mandalorian is still better.
I mean, this finale does a lot for this season, I think. But I don't know. I don't know if it's as good as the first season. I'd have to watch them all. I'd have to watch them all kind of back to back.
It was new. The second season was fun because it was something back. He was back, and then the third season, it's like, okay, I don't know. We'll see. I need to watch them again, and I'm going on a trip soon.
I did watch the first episode recently with my father.
Cool!
And it's a great episode. It's just like, hey, we're watching a Western show set in the Star Wars universe. Mm-hmm. I dig it.
Mm-hmm.
You get that great score by Ludwig Göransson.
Yeah.
It's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. One thing that I found really thoughtful and interesting, and we'll wrap it up with this. Like when Grogu saved Din Djarin did not think, hey, I need to get you out of here to protect you. He's like, you and I need to do this. And like he just this is pretty incredible. Just like how he was not willing to bring him into harm's way, but how much he trusted Grogu to be okay. Which is pretty neat.
Yeah, I mean he knows what Grogu can do.
Yeah, true. That's true.
Yeah.
All right. No news you can abuse this week. But
well, there was so I'll just mention it. There's more news about Jonathan Majors being dropped from his management and his PR firm, and getting decast from like some upcoming projects. So things aren't looking good for him.
It's not looking good for him, and I wish this wasn't happening, and I wish that it never happened. But it's also not looking good for the upcoming Marvel stuff as well. I'm almost 100% certain that they're going to pivot away from him and Kang at this point. I don't think they'll recast him. I think they'll just.
I think. I definitely think that's not a bad idea. Right.
The multiverse.
It's almost a fortunate situation for Marvel because they needed to find a way to kind of decontent this upcoming saga because they're going to be doing fewer movies. So maybe getting rid of Kang actually helps them out.
Well, we'll have to wait and see what happens. But the multiverse saga, no one really understood it in the first place. I don't think that Marvel or Disney really felt comfortable with it. And Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, the sales weren't great.
Right.
So let's find out how Secret Wars pans out. Let's find out how the Marvels pans out. We'll see how it goes.
Really interesting to see what happens with Loki season 2.
Well, he's in it. Jonathan Majors is all in that. It's already filmed.
Yeah, and it's already shot. So what do they do? Are they gonna?
I don't know what they do. Cry at night. I don't know. I have no idea. And you know what? At this point in my life, it's none of my business what they do.
They'll figure it out. They'll figure it out.
Yeah, I don't get paid enough. I don't get paid enough to worry about that kind of stuff. I don't get paid at all to worry about that kind of stuff. Weird.
Right.
But we do have an announcement.
Well, you should. They should hire you to do that.
They don't want to hire me to do it. They hate my decisions. What are you talking about?
You'd be good at it. You'd be good at it.
Yeah, probably. If they gave me complete control of the Marvel franchise and allows me.
I mean, you ain't getting that. You're not going to get that, but you can help out.
That's what I would want, though. That's the job. Either I get that or I'm walking. I'm not
okay, well, yeah. Sorry, they're passing on you.
Well, apparently they need some help because they're doing a terrible job. So just put that out there.
What's up? What are we doing next?
Well, we have because it's not slow times, but we have some time to kill.
There's a little bit to go until Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3.
I forgot about that. I forgot about that movie. When is that coming out?
It's next month.
What day exactly?
Is it May 8th?
Oh man. Okay. I'll get some popcorn. I get a nice drink. I'll have like 2.5 hours.
Do up the movie experience. It's a popcorn movie. Well, I mean, this one's supposed to be more emotional than normal, but just enjoy the popcorn movie experience.
Yeah. But
do you do nachos? I forget. Do you do nachos at the movies?
I'm a strictly popcorn and drink guy.
Something about movie theater nachos. I love it.
Mm.
That bad cheese and some pickled jalapenos to toss into it.
Yeah.
I love it.
It's just too messy. I don't go to the movie to eat a meal. I'll go to watch a movie.
Right.
But eating a meal is fun though. I'm kind of hungry. But we here's the big announcement, the big reveal. We are doing the X-Men movies, starting with the first X-Men movie. We're doing that. We're going to go there.
And we're going to do them all.
We're doing every X-Men movie. I don't know if we agreed to do the Wolverine movies too. Did we agree to that?
I think we have to, don't we?
I guess so. If we're going to do something, then might as well do it, right? So
I mean, Logan's supposedly one of the best superhero movies, right?
There's some bad X-Men movies. There's some bad ones.
Oh, yeah, I know some of these X-Men movies are going to be bad, but
there's some bad ones. I
feel like if we're taking it on, we've got to do it the right way.
Yeah,
right.
I will tell you right now, I'm not doing Deadpool. I'm just not doing Deadpool movies. I'm just not going to.
You've never seen Deadpool?
No, I'm not going. I put my foot down there.
It's a good movie.
Nah, I'm not into it.
Why not?
Why not? I'm just not. The whole thing doesn't appeal to me. Like the whole Ryan Reynolds funny. I'm a joke. Funny jokes.
It's good.
Yeah,
it's good.
I'm not interested in doing that. I'm not interested. I'm just not.
I mean, we don't have to watch it, but it's a good movie. It's a good movie.
There's 2 of them, right?
There's 2 of them. Yeah.
Maybe I'll do when they do because the Wolverine Deadpool movies will come out. Maybe we'll do that one.
Yeah. That's a good idea. Yeah, we can watch the first 2 leading up to the 3rd.
So what we got for X-Men is we have X-Men X2, we have X3 Final Stand, which is an absolutely terrible movie. We have X-Men Days of Future Past, which is fantastic. We have X-Men Apocalypse, which is who knows. And then we have the Wolverine movie. Oh, we have X-Men First Class, that's before X-Men Days of Future Past. Gonna watch that. Then we got X-Men Origins Wolverine. We got the Wolverine, and then we've got Logan. Am I missing anything?
Dude, I have no idea. You know way more about this than I do. I watched like the first 2 of those, and then I checked out.
We have a lot to talk about.
There's something weird happened with the X-Men movies, and I just stopped watching. I can't remember what it was.
I'll explain to that. I'll talk to you about that. It's actually a lot. It's pretty fun. But we have a lot to talk about. Isn't
Jennifer Lawrence in some of the later ones?
Yeah, Jennifer Lawrence. There's a ton of actors in this, man. Patrick Stewart, Hugh Jackman, Halle Berry, like tons and tons of talent in these X-Men movies.
Yeah.
So we got a lot. And not just that, I think the X-Men movies are closer to the lore than the Marvel Infinity War movies were.
Whoa.
Yeah, I think the X-Men movies did.
So you'll have even more juicy stuff to tell us.
We have a lot to talk about. You should prepare yourself for just as much, or if not more, discussion about the comics when it comes to
the X-Men. Listeners are in for a real treat with these X-Men movies. It sounds like
it's a lot. So if you haven't watched it in a while, dig up X-Men, the first X-Men movie. It has not aged well, but just dig it up anyway. Watch it. It's okay.
Yeah. So if you're listening to this and you're not subscribed, hit that subscribe button or follow button or whatever it's called.
It's a good time to subscribe. The X-Men movies are definitely fun to watch and definitely fun to talk about. So subscribe. Not only subscribe, but you should share it with your listeners, right, Mike?
That's right. Hit that share button. And subscribe, follow, share, rate, review, thumbs up. Give us all the stars.
Yeah. Share it with your family and share it with your friends. Share it with people that stuck in states where they just approved a labor law changes where a kid can work in a grocery store at 14, which is insane.
Or a farm worker at age 12 or whatever.
Yeah, it's just yeah. It's really hard to be happy nowadays. It's really
what?
It's really terrible. It's really if you need money so bad that you need to get your kids need to get a job, just go to the welfare office to get some welfare.
Well, I got news for you, Jarvis. The poor people, they're not the ones passing these laws.
That's true. That's true. It's actually interesting. We are going to talk about the issues of discrimination and bigotry when we get to the X-Men. And
that's kind of what it's all about, right?
Oh, it's 100%. It's not just that, but there's a lot going on with that, and it mirrors what we go through right now. Like people in power abusing people that's not in power because they're afraid of them.
I think that's the entire reason they invented the X-Men.
It's one of the reasons.
As a vehicle for broaching those subjects.
It's actually 2 good reasons, but we'll talk about that. Anyway, subscribe.
Yeah. Lots of good stuff for the listeners to look forward to.
Subscribe, rate, review, share it with your friends and family. It's going to be a lot of fun.